So look, RoboCop's one of those movies that is just endlessly quotable. You know, if you grew up with this movie, you've probably said at least one of these lines. I mean, at least maybe if you're a nerd like me, I don't know, but like there's so many quotables in this one. Like can you fly, Bobby? You know, I've used that one a couple of times. The whole, like, if it's really really hot outside, I'm all like, help me, and I'm doing that stuff. Like, I've done that before. And then there's the whole, don't touch me, man. That whole thing too. But then that same character is when he shoots the gun for the first time, the big military gun, and he goes, I like it. For some reason, I've used that one quite a bit. But one that I don't use as much, but it's actually gets a smile every time I do it. So when somebody says something like really smart or something, I go, what are you, a college boy or something? Look, a lot of lines in that movie. I'm sort of curious if there's anybody else that does that with RoboCop, and which ones are your favorites. But look, let's talk about RoboCop. If for some reason you have never seen RoboCop, it's about a dystopic and crime-ridden Detroit. And a terminally wounded cop returns to the force as a powerful cyborg haunted by submerged memories. The movie stars Peter Weller, Nancy Allen, Ronny Cox, Kurtwood Smith, and Miguel Ferrer. It marks the American film debut of director Paul Verhoeven. RoboCop is one of those movies it's just ingrained in me. I saw it at such a young age, probably way too young, but it came out when I was 11 and everybody I knew wanted to see it, and I think I didn't see it until probably sometime in like 1988. So probably like 12 years old. But it captured my imagination like so many of the films from the 80s. I mean, of course, you had, in 85, you had Rambo First Blood Part 2. And then in 87, you got Predator, Lethal Weapon, and RoboCop. And Predator was actually the first rated R movie, that I was able to watch in a theater, which, thanks, sister. But anyway, then the following year we had Die Hard. I mean, there's just so many great movies in this era, and RoboCop is definitely, way up there at one of my favorites. And when I heard that Arrow was going to release a 4K version of it, yeah, I just had to have it. I mean, the amount of stuff that you get on this thing is it's just ridiculous. I mean, of course, it comes in this nice box, and on the back, you've got the OCP stuff. But I mean, just look at that. Look at all that stuff, and pause it if you need to. But holy crap, there's so much stuff on there. I mean, on the inside, you get a really, really nice 80-page booklet going over the making of the movie with some really, really nice photos and stuff in it. It's pretty cool. And then you get the reversible poster. So of course you got the cover of the 4K disc there, and then on the back you've got the original theatrical poster, which is really, really cool. Then when it comes to the actual discs, you get two discs. You get the director's cut on one disc and the theatrical cut on another. And then on the inside, you get a couple of things as well. You get this nice sticker that says this property protected by RoboCop. You get sort of these reproductions of like lobby cards for the movie, which is really cool. But it's really the stuff that's on these discs that really just kind of blow everybody away. Something I didn't realize when I picked this up, that there's actually 3 versions of the movie on here. So there's the director's cut, of course, the theatrical cut, and the edited for TV version, which I have to say is pretty impressive. It's pretty funny, and it's something that really is kind of a thing of the past these days. But when you get to hear Bob Morton say, you're going to be a bad mother cruncher. Yeah, that's fun stuff. As far as the versions of the movie, I've always preferred the theatrical. I mean, I saw the director's cut probably, 10, 15 years ago when it first came out on DVD. I had a copy of that. And my whole thing with that is, not only is there's like a little drop in quality for the I guess the alternate versions of these scenes, but there's also a difference in the actual performances. There's, for example, when Clarence Boddicker shoots Murphy's hand off, and he goes, give the man a hand, right? in the theatrical cut, it's different than it is in the director's cut. I prefer the theatrical, and maybe it's just because I grew up with it, but it's also that drop in quality that I prefer the theatrical. But when it comes to the 4K, wow, this is the best this movie has ever looked. I mean, of course I didn't get to see it in the theater, but I can't imagine it looking any better than it does right now on this 4K disc. It looks so good. I mean, there's the media breaks, that kind of almost like signify an act change. Those are filmed on video. So like we're talking, video of the day. So it's not very good quality. There's like this drop in quality. Then the rear projection scene. So for like the Ed 209 scene, where he walks out in front of the people, you can tell that there's rear projection being done in front of the stop motion. And so that's how they did that. And of course, look, there's it's just not going to look as good as regular 4K footage at that point. And as I showed you, the extras on these discs, there's just so much stuff. My favorite thing on here is in 2012, I assume for the 25th anniversary of Robocop, they did a screening and then a panel with a bunch of the filmmakers and cast and crew. That's my favorite one. There's so much information in there, and it's so cool to see everybody together. And still 25 years later, of course now it's 35 years later, but everybody still looks back at this movie fondly, and it's kind of cool to see that. It's really, really neat. And overall, I just can't see anyone being disappointed with this package. I mean, it's just, there's so much stuff to go through, especially if you're a fan of the movie. I just can't see how you'd be disappointed. Now, I will mention that there are two different versions of this release. There's the 4K version, and then there's the Blu-ray version. A lot of movies these days, when you buy them physically, it comes with a Blu-ray along with the 4K if you buy the 4K version. Not in this case. So just make sure that you plan accordingly if, whichever one you're looking for. So yeah, Robocop is one of my favorite movies, probably of all time. I've seen it 4 times just in the last week, because I did watch all the commentaries because I love this movie. So yeah, it was formative for me. It was something that got me interested in wanting to make movies, how things were done, how things were shot. I didn't understand, as a kid, I was like, how did they get this robot to walk in front of these? Like, how is this working? And then it's stop motion and it's frame by frame, and you're learning about all this stuff. It's, again, there's so many different movie making techniques in this movie that it got me really, really interested in filmmaking. So of course, yes, Robocop is one of my favorites. And this release is probably, I don't think you can get a better release of Robocop right now. So let me know what you think of Robocop. I mean, is it one of those movies that was for you kind of like, I don't know, like me, sort of formative? Or is it just kind of like, yeah, that was a pretty good movie that I saw way back then? Or maybe you've never seen it. Let me know down below what you think of it, and we'll talk about it, because that's fun. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.